Learn English through story. The forbidden flame of desire. In the heart of a bustling city, where skyscrapers kissed the clouds and the hum of life never ceased, lived a man named Adrian. At 42, he had built a successful career as an architect, a profession that not only filled his pockets but also fueled his passion for creation. His designs were innovative and awe-inspiring, each structure reflecting his vision of beauty and functionality. Yet, despite his professional triumphs, Adrian felt an emptiness gnawing at his soul, a void that no amount of work could fill. Adrian was married to Claire, a woman of grace and warmth who had stood by him through the trials of life. They had 2 children, both teenagers, who were on the cusp of adulthood, chasing their own dreams. Claire was a devoted mother and an artist, her paintings capturing the beauty of their lives together. Their home was filled with laughter and love, yet Adrian often found himself distracted, caught in a whirlwind of thoughts that spiraled into discontent. He longed for something he couldn't quite define, a feeling that danced just out of reach. One rainy evening, as thunder rumbled in the distance, Adrian was working late at the office. The air was thick with the scent of wet asphalt and the sound of rain pattering against the glass windows. He noticed a flicker of movement outside. A figure huddled under an umbrella, waiting at the bus stop across the street. Curiosity piqued. He leaned closer to the window to get a better look. It was a woman, her silhouette striking against the backdrop of the city lights. Her name was Elena. Elena was new in town, having moved from a small coastal village seeking adventure and opportunity. With chestnut hair that flowed like silk and eyes the color of the stormy sea, she was captivating. As the rain poured, she exuded a sense of freedom that drew Adrian in, awakening something deep within him. He found himself watching her every move, his heart racing as she glanced at her watch, visibly impatient for the bus to arrive. Days turned into weeks, and every evening, Adrian found himself lingering at the office longer than necessary, hoping to catch a glimpse of Elena. She became his secret obsession, the flame that ignited a dormant desire within him. He learned about her through the gossip of the office workers, how she was an aspiring artist struggling to find her voice in the city. With each story, he felt a pull toward her, a yearning that contradicted his commitment to Claire. One fateful night, after an excruciating day filled with monotonous meetings, Adrian decided to indulge his curiosity. He approached the art gallery where Elena had her first exhibition. The gallery buzzed with energy, filled with people discussing the various pieces on display. Adrian could hardly focus on the artwork. His eyes were glued to her, standing near a vibrant painting that spoke of freedom and longing. "Isn't it beautiful?" A voice interrupted his thoughts. A woman next to him admired the painting, but Adrian hardly heard her. His attention was entirely on Elena, who was animatedly discussing her work with a group of admirers. Finally, unable to resist any longer, Adrian approached her. "Your work is mesmerizing," he said, trying to suppress the tremor in his voice. Elena turned, surprise flashing across her face, quickly replaced by a warm smile. "Thank you. It's my first show, and I'm a bundle of nerves," she admitted, her honesty disarming him. "I can see why," Adrian replied, gesturing toward the painting. "It's full of emotion." They spoke for hours, sharing stories and laughter, the connection between them growing deeper with each passing moment. Adrian found himself lost in her enthusiasm for art and life, feeling more alive than he had in years. As the night progressed, the gallery slowly emptied, leaving them alone in the dim light. "Would you like to grab a coffee?" Elena asked, her eyes sparkling with a mix of mischief and sincerity. Caught off guard by the invitation, Adrian hesitated. He glanced at his watch, knowing he should return home, but the prospect of spending more time with her was intoxicating. "Sure," he replied, and just like that, they stepped out into the cool night air. As they walked through the rain-soaked streets, the world around them faded into a blur. Adrian felt a sense of freedom he hadn't experienced in years, as if the weight of his responsibilities melted away. They talked about everything: art, dreams, and the complexities of life, via sharing secrets they had never spoken aloud before. The chemistry between them was undeniable, electric, and it felt as though they were the only two people in the universe. Hours later, they sat in a small cafe tilde copyright, the scent of fresh coffee enveloping them. As they leaned in closer, a flicker of desire passed between them, igniting the forbidden flame that Adrian had been yearning for. He knew this was dangerous territory, but the thrill of it exhilarated him. The following weeks were a whirlwind of secret meetings and stolen moments. They met at art galleries, cozy cafes, and hidden parks, each rendezvous fueling the fire of their illicit affair. Adrian was aware of the risks, the potential fallout, but the intensity of his feelings for Elena made him reckless. He felt young and alive, as if he were finally discovering a part of himself that had long been buried beneath the responsibilities of adulthood. However, with every secret rendezvous, guilt crept into Adrian's heart. The laughter and joy he shared with Elena were a stark contrast to the life he had built with Claire. Each time he returned home, he could feel the weight of his deception, the smile on Claire's face cutting deeper than any blade. She was so devoted, so trusting, and he was betraying that trust for a fleeting moment of passion. One evening, as Adrian lay beside Claire, listening to her soft breaths, he felt a pang of remorse wash over him. In the stillness of the night, he realized that he had been neglecting not just his marriage but also the love that had once burned brightly between them. He wanted to tell her everything, to confess the truth and relieve the burden he had been carrying, but the fear of losing her and their family paralyzed him. As days turned into weeks, the duality of his existence became unbearable. The highs he experienced with Elena were intoxicating, yet each moment was tainted by the shadow of guilt that loomed over him. He began to pull away from Elena, fearing that the flame they had ignited would consume everything he held dear. One rainy afternoon, as he sat in his office, staring blankly at his sketches, he received a text from Elena. "I miss you. Can we meet?" His heart raced at the thought, but dread settled in the pit of his stomach. He knew he had to end it before it spiraled further out of control. After contemplating for hours, he replied, "I can't. We need to talk." Later that evening, they met at their usual cafe tilde copyright, the air thick with unspoken tension. As they sat across from each other, Adrian's heart pounded in his chest, and he could see the glimmer of hope in Elena's eyes. "What's wrong?" she asked, concern etched on her face. Adrian swallowed hard, searching for the right words. "I can't do this anymore," he finally said, his voice barely above a whisper. "I love my family, and there's a broken bar. Whatever this is, it's not right." Elena's face fell, a mixture of hurt and confusion washing over her. "But we have something special, Adrian. You can't just walk away from that," she pleaded, her voice cracking. "I know, And that's why it hurts so much. But I can't keep lying to myself or to Claire. I need to be honest," he said, fighting back the tears that threatened to spill. Silence enveloped them as they processed the weight of his words. Finally, Elena nodded, a single tear escaping down her cheek. "I understand, but it doesn't make it easier," she said softly. They shared a bittersweet embrace, the warmth of their bodies a stark reminder of the connection they had forged. As Adrian walked away that evening, the burden of guilt began to lift, but the emptiness of longing remained. He returned home, where Claire was waiting, her smile illuminating the room. He kissed her forehead and sat down beside her, enveloped in the warmth of their family, yet feeling like an outsider in his own life. Over the following weeks, Adrian focused on mending his relationship with Claire. He made a concerted effort to be present, to engage in their shared interests, and to reconnect with the family he had almost lost. They went on outings, spent evenings reminiscing about their early days, and laughed over simple pleasures. Slowly, the love that had dulled began to flicker back to life. However, there were moments when he felt the ghost of Elena linger in his thoughts, and he struggled to forget her vibrant laughter and the passion they shared. He missed the excitement she had brought into his life, but he knew that the cost of that excitement was too high. One rainy afternoon, as he sifted through old sketches, he came across a drawing he had done years ago, a representation of his dreams, filled with architectural marvels that reflected his heart. He realized that the fire of creativity had dimmed in his pursuit of external validation and material success. In seeking the forbidden flame, he had neglected his true passion, the art of architecture. With renewed purpose, Adrian began to channel his energy into his work. He embarked on a new project, a community center that would bring together art, architecture, and the people of his city. He collaborated with local artists, and as he worked, he felt a spark of inspiration reignite within him. It was as if the flame of desire had transformed from a forbidden longing into a passionate drive to create something meaningful. Months passed, and the community center blossomed under his careful guidance. The once silent streets buzzed with life as art exhibitions, workshops, and events brought people together. Adrian felt a sense of fulfillment he had longed for, a connection to his community that filled the void within him. One evening, as he stood on the rooftop of the center, watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of orange and pink, he felt a sense of peace. He had learned a valuable lesson from his journey with Elena, a lesson about the importance of authenticity, honesty, and the true nature of desire. In time, the memory of Elena faded into the background, replaced by the joy of family and the thrill of creativity. He realized that while desire could lead one down a treacherous path, it could also ignite a fire that burned brightly in the pursuit of passion and purpose. Years later, as he sat with Claire, now older and wiser, they reflected on their journey together. They had weathered storms and faced challenges, but their bond had grown stronger through it all. Adrian understood that the flame of desire, once a forbidden force, had transformed into a guiding light that led him back to his true self. The journey had taught him the value of honesty, not just with others, but with himself. He learned that the most profound connections are forged through understanding, trust, and mutual respect. In choosing to confront his desires and the consequences of his actions, Adrian had discovered the true meaning of love, a love that was not just about passion, but about commitment, growth, and the beautiful complexity of human relationships. As he looked into Claire's eyes, He realized that the flame of desire, when tempered with integrity and love, could become a source of warmth and light, guiding him toward a future filled with hope, creativity, and endless possibilities. In that moment, he knew that he had chosen wisely, and the flame would continue to burn, not as a forbidden desire, but as a beacon of hope and inspiration for the life they had built together. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you enjoyed, then please like and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.